I am Herodotus of Halicarnassus, a humble man with an insatiable thirst for knowledge, and it is with this passion that I have chronicled the great events and peoples of the world. Born around 484 BCE in the Greek city of Halicarnassus, I was fortunate to live during a time of immense change, a period where the might of empires was challenged and cultures collided. My journey to becoming a historian, though that word had yet to be coined, was driven by my desire to understand the vast world around me. Halicarnassus, where I was born, was a Greek colony on the western coast of Asia Minor, yet it was part of the Persian Empire. This gave me a unique perspective on the interplay between Greek and Persian cultures from a young age. My city was ruled by a queen named Artemisia, who would later become famous for her role in the Persian Wars, but more on that later. My family was of noble birth, and though I was afforded an education, I often felt my restless nature yearning to explore beyond the walls of our city. From my earliest memories, I was captivated by stories. I listened intently as travelers from distant lands recounted their adventures. Merchants spoke of their journeys to the far reaches of the world, and soldiers reminisced about battles fought in foreign lands. The curiosity these tales sparked within me would never wane. I believe it was the stories of the Persian Wars that ignited my deep desire to seek the truth about the events that shaped our world. The Greeks' stand against the vast Persian Empire fascinated me. It seemed impossible that a small collection of city-states could stand up to such overwhelming odds and prevail. But I had to know more than just what was spoken by the poets and storytellers. I wanted to dig deeper, to understand not only the facts but also the reasons behind the conflicts, the cultures that clashed, and the heroes who rose and fell. As a young man, I left Halicarnassus, driven partly by my intellectual curiosity and partly by political necessity. There was a tyrant ruling my city, Legacies, and like many men of my age and position, I found myself at odds with his rule. I participated in a failed coup against him and was forced into exile. Yet, this misfortune became an opportunity, as it set me free to travel the world, unburdened by political ties or familial obligations. I traveled extensively throughout the known world, from Egypt in the south to the shores of the Black Sea in the north, from the plains of Mesopotamia to the cities of Greece itself. I was never satisfied with just hearing the stories from others. I sought out first-hand accounts and visited the sites where history had unfolded. In Egypt, I marveled at the pyramids and spoke to priests about the ancient history of their land, a civilization far older than my own. In Babylon, I walked among the ruins of once mighty palaces and heard of the conquests of Nebuchadnezzar. In my travels, I developed a method that was unique for my time. Rather than simply accepting what I was told, I sought to verify facts by cross-referencing different accounts. I interviewed people from both sides of conflicts and examined different versions of events, trying to piece together a coherent and truthful narrative. This process of inquiry, what we Greeks call historia, is what later earned me the title the Father of History. The greatest achievement of my life was the chronicling of the Persian Wars, a monumental clash between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire that spanned decades. I did not witness these wars firsthand, for they occurred when I was still a child. However, their impact on the Greek world was profound, and I made it my mission to document them as thoroughly as possible. I began by examining the rise of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, a remarkable man who united the Medes and Persians into a single powerful entity. His conquests stretched across vast swaths of land, from Lydia in the west to Babylon and Egypt. Yet, it was his successors Darius and Xerxes who would bring the empire into direct conflict with Greece. The story of the Persian Wars is one of heroism, tragedy, and the struggle for freedom. It is a story of kings and common men, of armies that numbered in the millions, and of a handful of city-states that dared to stand against them. I documented the Battle of Marathon, where a small Athenian force repelled the Persian invaders. I wrote of the brave stand of King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, a story that has resonated through the ages as a symbol of courage and sacrifice. And I recounted the naval battle of Salamis, where the cunning of the Athenian general Themistocles turned the tide against Xerxes' overwhelming fleet. But I did not merely write about battles. I sought to understand the deeper causes of the conflict. Why did the Persians seek to conquer Greece? What motivated the Greeks to resist? What were the customs, laws, and beliefs of these two very different cultures? In answering these questions, I hope to create a work that would serve as a guide for future generations, so they could learn from the mistakes and triumphs of the past. The culmination of my life's work is what I have titled The Histories, a collection of 9 books that recount not only the Persian Wars but also the broader context in which they occurred. I began by documenting the rise of the Persian Empire and then proceeded to describe the customs and histories of the various peoples that the Persians encountered and conquered, from the Egyptians to the Scythians. In my work, I did not shy away from including digressions on geography, religion, and ethnography, for I believed that understanding a people's culture was key to understanding their motivations. I wrote of the wonders of Egypt, the mysterious lands beyond the known world, and the strange practices of distant tribes. I described the habits of the Persians, their kings, and their system of governance. I recounted stories of oracles and omens, for I knew that the Greeks and Persians alike placed great importance on the will of the gods. Some may criticize my work for including what they call fanciful or unbelievable tales, but I always sought to distinguish between what I personally witnessed, what I had verified through reliable sources, and what I had only heard from others. I included such stories because they reflect the beliefs and perceptions of the people who lived through these events, and those beliefs often influenced the course of history itself. As I near the end of my life, I reflect on the path I have traveled. My histories have not been universally accepted or praised. Some accuse me of bias, of favoring the Greeks over the Persians, or of indulging in exaggeration. Others say I focus too much on trivial details or digress too often from the main narrative. Yet, I know that what I have written will endure. I have tried to capture the truth, not just the facts, but the spirit of the age in which I lived. I have sought to preserve the memory of great deeds and to give voice to the many peoples and cultures that shaped our world. I hope that future generations will read my work and understand that history is not merely a list of dates and events but a complex web of human experiences, motivations, and decisions. In my heart, I am not just a recorder of events. I am a seeker of wisdom. I believe that through understanding the past, we can better navigate the present and future. My life has been dedicated to this quest for knowledge, and though I may not have all the answers, I leave behind a foundation upon which others may build. I, Herodotus of Halicarnassus, have lived, I have traveled, and I have written. And though my time on this earth is finite, the stories I have collected and the truths I have uncovered will live on.